Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something I've learned over the years. Discipline is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. You can have all the talent in the world. You can have the best ideas, the biggest vision. But if you don't have discipline, you will never cross that bridge. Your brain is like a muscle. If you don't train it, it stays weak, it stays lazy, and it will talk you out of your own greatness. You have to decide every single day to take control of your thoughts, because your thoughts control your actions and your actions control your life. Let me tell you something I know for a fact. Nothing, and I mean nothing, will change in your life until you understand that discipline is a mental decision before it's a physical action. See, most people think discipline is about just doing the thing, getting up early, going to the gym, sticking to the plan, but that's only the end result. The real battle starts up here in your head before you even move a muscle. Your brain is the command center. If you win in your mind, your body will follow. But if you lose in your mind, it doesn't matter how much potential you've got, you keep finding reasons to quit before you even start. That's why you've got to start training your brain like it's the most important piece of equipment you'll ever own, because it is. Now, here's the thing. Your brain is not naturally programmed for discipline. It's programmed for comfort, for survival, for doing the least amount of work to keep you alive. And in a world where comfort is easy to get with one click, with one excuse, you've got to fight against that natural setting. Every morning, the moment you open your eyes, your mind starts negotiating. It tells you, stay in bed a little longer. You can do it tomorrow. Nobody will know if you skipped today. And that's the voice that has been running your life every time you've fallen short. The first step to discipline is recognizing that voice and deciding you're not taking orders from it anymore. You've got to reprogram that inner dialogue to say, get up, do it now, keep going, even when you don't feel like it. And let me be real with you. Training your brain for discipline isn't about one big moment of inspiration. It's about the little moments you win over yourself all day long. When you tell yourself, I'll just do it later, that's a mental rep you just skipped. But when you say, I'll do it right now, that's a rep you completed. And every completed rep makes your mental muscle stronger, just like lifting weights. You can't expect to get stronger if you don't put in the rep. Every time you choose action over comfort, you are reinforcing to your brain that you are in control. And that is the foundation of discipline. You also have to realize that discipline in the mind starts with clarity. If your brain doesn't know exactly what you want, it will default to whatever's easiest. You've got to tell it what the target is clearly and specifically. If you want to wake up early, don't just say, I'll get up early. Say, I'll get up at 5:30. A-E-M-A, no matter what. If you want to save money, don't just say, I'm going to save. Say, I'm saving $200, 0 cents from every paycheck. The more specific the command you give your brain, the less room it has to talk you out of it. And understand this, discipline in the mind isn't something you master in a week. You've been running on certain mental patterns for years, maybe decades. You've been letting that little voice talk you into quitting for a long time. You're going to have to fight it every day until the new voice, the disciplined voice, becomes the default. And once it becomes the default, you'll start seeing a shift in your actions without even thinking about it. That's the moment you know your brain is finally working for you instead of against you. One of the most powerful things you can ever learn if you want discipline in your life is how to say no. And I'm not just talking about saying no to people. I'm talking about saying no to yourself. That's the hardest no you'll ever say, because deep down, we all have that side of us that wants to take the shortcut. Eat the cake, skip the workout, hit the snooze button, binge the show instead of working on the dream. It's easy to say yes to those things. because they give you comfort right now. But every yes to a short-term pleasure is often a no to a long-term goal. You've got to reverse that equation. You've got to start saying no to what's holding you back so you can say yes to what's going to take you forward. Now, here's the truth. Most people struggle with discipline because they don't want to feel that sting of telling themselves no. We live in a culture that's all about instant gratification. We're told to treat ourselves, live a little. You deserve it. And yeah, you deserve happiness, but you also deserve to see what happens when you finally commit to yourself without excuses. When you learn to say no to temptation, you are building a mental wall between you and failure. Every time you say no to something that's not serving your purpose, you laying another brick in that wall. That wall keeps distractions out and keeps your focus locked in on what matters. It's not going to be easy at first. You'll have moments where you feel like you're missing out. Your friends might go out and you'll say no because you've got an early start tomorrow. The old you will scream inside, come on, just this once. That's when you have to remember, discipline is about playing the long game. You're not just saying no to one night out. You're saying yes to a better version of yourself that's being built brick by brick. Saying no also means protecting your time. Time is the most valuable thing you have, and once it's gone forever. People will ask you for your time like it's free, but it's not. Every time you say yes to something meaningless, you're saying no to something meaningful. You got to get comfortable disappointing other people if it means not disappointing yourself. That's a hard truth, but it's the truth. If your goal is big enough, you can't afford to please everybody. And don't think this is just about big moments. The small no's are just as important. Saying no to hitting snooze. Saying no to scrolling your phone when you should be reading something that grows you. Saying no to that extra slice of pizza when you know you're trying to get in shape. All these little no's add up, and they train your brain to resist impulses that don't serve you. The more you resist, the stronger that self-control muscle gets. Eventually what happens is you stop seeing no as punishment, you start seeing it as power. You realize you're not depriving yourself, you're directing yourself. You're choosing what you want most over what you want now. And when you can consistently do that, when you can look temptation in the face and walk away without hesitation, that's when you know discipline is not just something you do, it's who you've become. Let me tell you something I've learned in my own life. Your habits will either carry you to success or drag you to failure. And the crazy thing is, you get to choose which ones you build. Discipline isn't about doing one big thing right. It's about setting up your life so that the little things you do every single day push you forward instead of holding you back. See, most people underestimate the power of small habits. They think it's the big moments that make or break them, but it's really the little choices, the repeated actions that shape who you are and what you become. If your brain is like a garden, your habits are the seeds. And you can plant good seeds or bad seeds, but either way, something is going to grow. You can plant the seeds of procrastination, laziness, excuses, and every day you'll grow a crop of missed opportunities. Or you can plant the seeds of consistency, follow through, and commitment, and you'll grow a harvest of results. The problem is, too many people want to plant one seed of effort and expect a forest of success. That's not how it works. You've got to water those seeds every day. And that water is your discipline. Now, here's the deal. You've got to build habits that work for you, that serve your goals, that make it easier to win and harder to quit. That might mean putting your phone in another room so you can focus, setting your alarm across the room so you have to get out of bed to turn it off, planning your meals ahead of time so you don't reach for junk food when you're tired. These are not just random tricks. These are ways of wiring your environment so it supports the person you want to be. Because let's be honest, willpower is great, but it's not enough on its own. You've got to set yourself up to win. And once you start building those habits, something amazing happens. You don't have to think about discipline as much because your habits take over. If you've made it a habit to work out every morning, after a while it feels weird not to do it. If you've made it a habit to write for an hour every day, skipping it feels unnatural. That's the beauty of habits. They shift the weight from motivation to automatic action. But here's the flip side. Bad habits work the same way. If you get used to being late, you'll keep being late without thinking about it. If you get used to quitting when things get hard, that becomes your go-to move. That's why you can't just let your habits happen by accident. You got to choose them on purpose. You got to ask yourself, is this habit building me up or breaking me down? And if it's breaking you down, you got to replace it, not just remove it. Because if you remove a habit and don't replace it with something better, the old one will creep back in before you know it. It's also important to understand that habits aren't built overnight. They're built over time through repetition and consistency. The first week, it feels forced. The second week, it feels a little easier. The third week, it starts to feel normal. And then one day you look up and realize you become the kind of person who just does it. That's when you know you've trained your brain to work for you. Your brain is like a computer, and just like a computer, it can only produce what you program into it. If you feed it junk, you're going to get junk results. If you feed it greatness, you're going to get greatness out of it. Too many people want to live disciplined, focused, successful lives, but they're constantly filling their minds with negativity, drama, gossip, fear, and doubt. You cannot expect to live a disciplined life when you're training your brain to be distracted, insecure, and unfocused. Your mind becomes what you feed it. So if you want discipline, you got to start feeding your mind the kind of input that supports it. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you give your brain? If the first thing is social media drama, bad news, or people complaining, you're already programming yourself to react instead of act. You're letting the world set your tone instead of setting it yourself. That's why you've got to be intentional about your mental diet. Just like your body needs the right nutrients to stay healthy, your mind needs the right information to stay strong and disciplined. You've got to consume things that inspire you, challenge you, teach you, and push you to think bigger. And it's not just about avoiding bad information. It's about surrounding yourself with good information. Read books that expand your thinking. Listen to podcasts that give you strategies to grow. Watch videos that motivate you to move forward. Hang around people who are serious about their goals. People who aren't afraid to call you out when you're slipping. People who talk about ideas instead of other people. If you spend enough time around discipline, it rubs off on you. The problem is most folks underestimate how powerful the little things are. That song you're listening to every day. That TV show you binge. That conversation you keep having with the wrong person. All of that is feeding your mind something. And just like with food, if you eat junk once in a while, you can recover. But if junk is your main diet, you're going to get sick. The same applies to your brain. If you feed it mental junk every day, your thinking gets unhealthy, your focus gets weak, and your discipline gets soft. It's the truth. Discipline is not just about forcing yourself to work hard. It's about creating an environment in your head that makes working hard the natural choice. When your mind is full of good ideas, strong beliefs, and inspiring vision, you don't have to fight yourself as much to stay on track. Your brain is already working in the right direction. But if your mind is full of fear, anger, and distractions, then every day is an uphill battle just to get started. You've got to be ruthless about protecting what gets in. That means turning off the news if it's just negativity, unfollowing accounts that don't add value, walking away from conversations that pull you down, and replacing them with content and connections that lift you up. It's not about pretending bad things don't exist. It's about making sure your mind is focused on what's going to keep you disciplined and moving forward. Because the truth is, your brain will believe whatever you keep showing it. If you feed it strength, it will give you strength. If you feed it weakness, it will give you weakness. You decide which one it's going to be. A lot of people mess up on discipline because they think it means being perfect every single day, never missing a beat, never slipping up. And the moment they mess up once, they throw their hands up and say, well, I guess I blew it. That's the wrong mindset. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about consistency. You're not in competition to see how flawless you can be. You're in a commitment to see how faithful you can be. Life is not going to give you perfect conditions, and you're not always going to feel like doing the work. But if you can keep showing up, keep doing what needs to be done most of the time, you'll get where you're trying to go. Perfection is an illusion that will kill your motivation. If you're chasing perfection, you'll quit the first time you miss a workout, the first time you eat the wrong thing, the first time you oversleep. But when you understand consistency, you realize those moments are just bumps in the road, not the end of the road. The people who succeed are not the ones who never fall. They're the ones who get back up faster than everybody else. They've trained their minds to bounce back instead of breaking down. Think of it like this. If you're driving to a destination and you take a wrong turn, you don't pull over, throw the keys away and say, forget it, I'm never driving again. No, you get back on the right road and keep going. That's what consistency looks like. It's correcting course without quitting the journey. That's how discipline works. You might miss a day, you might have a bad week, but you get back to it because your commitment is bigger than your comfort. And here's something you've got to understand. Consistency builds trust with yourself. Every time you follow through on what you said you would do, even in a small way, you're telling your brain, I can count on me. That trust is the foundation of discipline. Without it, your brain will doubt you every time you set a goal. But when you've been consistent long enough, your brain stops questioning you because it knows you'll show up, even when you don't feel like it. Consistency also compounds. One day of doing the right thing might not feel like it's making a difference, but when you stack those days on top of each other, that's when the magic happens. Just like you don't get out of shape from one bad meal, you don't get in shape from one good workout. It's the pattern, the repetition, the ongoing commitment that changes you. The small daily actions that seem ordinary are the ones that create extraordinary results over time. And listen, discipline without consistency is like a muscle you never use. It gets weaker. You can be disciplined for a week and then fall off for a month, and all that progress you made will fade. But if you keep showing up, even at 70% effort some days, you're still moving forward. You're still keeping the muscle active. And that's the part people don't get. It's not about doing your best every single time. It's about never stopping complete. If you can master that, if you can train your brain to keep going when most people give up, you'll always be ahead of the game, because consistency will take you places perfection never could. The truth is, you can try every productivity hack, every morning routine, every motivational video out there, but if you don't have a deep reason behind your discipline, you won't last. You've got to connect your discipline to your why. Your why is the engine that drives you when your motivation runs out. It's the thing that makes you get out of bed when you're tired, push through when you're sore, and stay focused when distractions are pulling at you from every direction. Without a strong why, discipline feels like punishment. But when your why is clear, discipline feels like an investment. Most people give up on their goals not because they aren't capable, but because they never took the time to connect what they're doing to something that truly matters to them. If you're trying to get in shape just because it sounds nice, the first time you crave junk food, you'll cave. But if your why is to live long enough to see your kids grow up, to walk your daughter down the aisle, to run around with your grandkids, suddenly that workout isn't just about muscles. It's about moments you want to live to see. That's the difference a why makes. Your why has to be personal. It can't be something you borrowed from someone else. You can't do it just because society says you should, or because your friend is doing it. You got to dig deep and figure out what really matters to you. Maybe it's providing for your family so they never have to struggle like you did. Maybe it's proving to yourself that you can accomplish what people said you couldn't. Maybe it's building a legacy so your name means something long after you're gone. When your discipline is tied to something that hits you in the heart, quitting stops being an option you're willing to take. And you've got to remind yourself of your why constantly. Write it down. Put it somewhere you'll see it every day. When the alarm goes off and you don't feel like getting up, look at your why. When you're tempted to waste hours scrolling your phone, think about your why. When the path gets hard, and it will, your why is what pulls you through, because the truth is, your brain will always try to talk you out of hard things. But your why can be louder if you keep it in front of you. Your why also gives meaning to the sacrifices discipline demands. Waking up early, skipping parties, working late, saving money instead of spending. These things feel like losses if you're doing them for no reason. But when you know they're steps toward the life you want, they feel like wins. You stop focusing on what you're missing and start focusing on what you're gaining. And here's something powerful. Your why will grow with you. At first, it might be about survival, just getting out of a tough spot. Later, it might become about growth, pushing your limits, building something bigger than yourself. Either way, when you link your discipline to your why, you create a bond that's hard to break. You stop asking yourself, do I feel like it? And start telling yourself, I'm doing it because I have to. That's the point where discipline stops being a chore and starts being a part of who you are. Because you're no longer just working for the goal, you're working for the reason behind the goal. Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. I need you to hear me today. Not just with your ears, but with your heart. Because what I'm about to tell you might just be the wake-up call you've been waiting for. See, life ain't waiting on you. Life don't care about your excuses. Life don't care about your fears. Life don't care about how comfortable you are. The clock is ticking, and the question is, are you going to keep hitting snooze, or are you finally going to wake up and make a change? Some of y'all been stuck in the same situation for years. Same job you hate. Same toxic relationships. Same bad habits. You keep saying, one day I'm going to get it together. One day I'm going to chase my dream. But let me tell you something. One day ain't on the calendar. If you don't decide to change today, then what makes you think tomorrow is going to be any different? Life has a funny way of moving forward, whether we're ready or not. Every single day, the sun rises, time moves, and the world keeps turning, but some of us are still asleep, still stuck in the same old patterns, still waiting for something magical to happen before we decide to move. We keep hitting snooze, not just on our alarms, but on our dreams, our goals, and our potential. We tell ourselves, just a little longer, just one more day. I'll start next week. I'll change next month. And before we know it, years have passed and we're still in the same place, wondering why nothing has changed. It's not that we don't want better. It's not that we don't have the desire to grow, to achieve, to become something greater than we are right now. It's that comfort is a powerful thing. Comfort convinces us that where we are is good enough, even when deep down we know we were made for more. Comfort whispers that change is too hard, too risky, too uncertain. And so we stay. We stay in jobs we hate. We stay in relationships that drain us. We stay in habits that harm us. Not because we want to, but because the idea of change feels overwhelming. But here's the truth. Every time you hit snooze on your life, you are making a decision to settle, a decision to stay stuck, a decision to waste the time you've been given. And time, that's the one thing you don't get back. You can make more money, you can build new relationships, you can fix mistakes, but you cannot rewind time. Once it's gone, it's gone. And the saddest thing in the world is looking back and realizing that you had every opportunity to change, but you kept pushing it off for later, for tomorrow, for the right time that never actually came. Excuses are easy. We tell ourselves that we're waiting for the right moment, the right circumstances, the right opportunity. But in reality, what we're really waiting for is permission to believe in ourselves. We wait for some sign, some outside force to push us into action. But no one is coming to do it for you. No one is going to show up, grab you by the hand, and lead you into the life you've been dreaming about. That's on you. That's your job. The people who succeed, the people who make it, the people who break free from their old lives and step into something better, they aren't necessarily the smartest, the luckiest, or the most talented. They are the ones who made a decision. They got tired of waiting, tired of hoping, tired of watching life pass them by while they sat on the sidelines, and one day they just got up. They just started. They didn't have all the answers. They didn't have everything figured out, but they understood that waiting wasn't going to get them anywhere. And let's be honest, how many times have you told yourself you were going to change? How many times have you made promises to yourself that you didn't keep? You said you were going to start that business. You said you were going to leave that toxic relationship. You said you were going to get in shape, save money, follow your passion, stop wasting time. And yet here you are, still saying the same thing, still making the same excuses, still waiting for something outside of you to force you into action. Nothing changes if nothing changes. If you keep doing what you've always done, you will keep getting what you've always gotten. You can't pray for growth while clinging to comfort. You can't ask for a better life while refusing to make better choices. You can't expect change when you're still pressing snooze on the very things that could transform your life. You have the power, you always have. But power means nothing if you don't use it. Talent means nothing if you don't develop it. Opportunities mean nothing if you don't take them. You don't need another sign. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more time. You need to wake up, you need to get up, and you need to make a decision right now to stop delaying, stop stalling, stop playing small, and start stepping into what's meant for you. We love to say, one day I'll do it. One day I'll chase my dream. One day I'll start that business. One day I'll get in shape. One day I'll leave this toxic situation. But the problem is, one day is a fantasy. It's a comfortable illusion we create to make ourselves feel better about not taking action today. It tricks us into believing that change is still possible without requiring us to do anything right now. It keeps us in a cycle of waiting, delaying, and hoping while time continues to move forward without us. Think about it. How many times have you said, I'll start Monday? Monday comes and goes, and suddenly it's next Monday, then next month, then next year. We keep pushing our goals further into the future, convincing ourselves that some perfect moment will arrive when everything feels right. But that moment never comes. There will never be a day when everything is easy, when all fears disappear, when all obstacles vanish, when motivation is endless. The truth is, if you aren't willing to take action now, you won't be willing to take action later. People wait for motivation thinking that one day they will wake up with this unstoppable energy to change their life. But motivation is unpredictable. It comes and goes like the weather. If you rely on motivation, you'll always be waiting. What you need is discipline, commitment, and a decision. A decision that no matter how you feel, no matter how tired you are, no matter how scared you are, you will take a step forward. You will do what needs to be done today, not tomorrow, not when you feel like it, not when the timing is perfect, because perfect timing is a myth. The most successful people in the world don't wait for inspiration to hit them. They don't wait until they feel ready. They understand that success comes from consistency, from showing up even when it's hard, from doing what needs to be done even when they don't feel like it. They take action now because they know that waiting only leads to regret. Look back at the last 5 years of your life. How many things did you say you were going to do that you never did? How many dreams did you let sit on the shelf? How many goals did you abandon because you told yourself you get to them one day? And here's the real question. How much further could you be right now if you had just started when you first thought about it? It's not that you don't have time. You have the same 24 hours as everybody else. It's that you keep giving your time to things that don't move you forward. You scroll for hours, you binge watch shows, you procrastinate on things that matter. You say you're too busy, but when you really look at it, you're not busy, you're just choosing comfort over progress. And as long as you keep making that choice, nothing will change. Fear plays a big role in this. We don't take action because we're afraid of failing. We don't start because we're afraid we're not good enough, that we don't have what it takes. So we push it off thinking that if we wait long enough, the fear will go away. But fear never leaves. You don't outgrow fear. You learn to move through it. The only way to build confidence, to get better, to become the person you want to be, is to start before you're ready. People say they're waiting for a sign, but how many signs do you need? Every day you wake up is a sign. Every moment you feel stuck is a sign. Every time you think about changing your life but don't do anything about it, that's a sign. The truth is, you already know what you need to do. You already know what's holding you back. The problem isn't knowing, the problem is doing. Excuses will always be there if you look for them. There will always be reasons to wait, always obstacles in the way, always something that makes it inconvenient to start now. But people who win in life don't wait for circumstances to be perfect. They work with what they have. They start where they are. They make mistakes. They fail. They learn. But they keep moving because they know that one day is just another way of saying never. Fear has a way of keeping people trapped in the same place for years, sometimes even for a lifetime. It whispers doubts in your ear, making you believe that stepping into the unknown is too risky, too difficult, too unpredictable. It convinces you that staying where you are is safer, easier, and more comfortable. And that's the problem, comfort. Comfort feels good in the moment, but in the long run, it becomes a prison. It keeps you from growing, from evolving, from reaching the potential that's inside of you. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they never try. They never step outside of what's familiar. They never take a chance on themselves. They get so used to their routine, so used to the way things are, that they convince themselves change is unnecessary. But deep down, they know better. Deep down, they feel that pull, that voice inside them that says, there's more for you. The problem is they silence that voice with fear. Fear makes you second guess yourself. It makes you question whether you're good enough, whether you have what it takes, whether you deserve more. And so you sit on your dreams, you ignore your goals, and you watch other people live the life you wish you had, not because they're better than you, not because they have more talent or luck, but because they refused to let fear stop them. They felt fear, but they moved anyway. Every time you let fear make your decisions, you are choosing to stay stuck. You are choosing to give up on yourself before you even try. You are choosing to settle for less than what you're capable of. And settling might feel okay for a while, but eventually it leads to regret. You start wondering what could have been, what you could have achieved if only you had been brave enough to take that first step. And regret, that's a pain worse than fear. Fear of failure is one of the biggest lies people believe. The truth is, failing is not the worst thing that can happen. The worst thing that can happen is never trying at all. When you fail, you learn, you grow, you figure out what works and what doesn't. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than you can count. The difference is they didn't let failure define them. They didn't see it as a reason to quit. They saw it as a lesson, as a stepping stone, as part of the journey. Fear of judgment holds people back just as much as fear of failure. Too many people worry about what others will think. They don't chase their dreams because they're afraid of being laughed at, afraid of being criticized, afraid of looking foolish. But let's be real, people are going to judge you no matter what you do. If you play it safe and stay where you are, people will have something to say. If you take a risk and chase something bigger, people will have something to say. So if judgment is inevitable, why not do what makes you happy? Why not go after what you really want? Fear convinces you that you need certainty before you take action, that you need to know exactly how things will turn out. But that's impossible. No one ever has all the answers before they start. No one ever knows exactly how the journey will unfold. But they start anyway. They take that first step even when they're unsure, even when they're afraid, because they understand that clarity comes from action, not from waiting. Fear will always be there. It doesn't disappear just because you ignore it. It doesn't go away just because you wish it would. The only way to overcome fear is to face it, to do the thing you're afraid of, to step into the unknown, even when your hands are shaking, even when your heart is pounding, even when your mind is filled with doubts. Because once you take that step, you realize something. Fear was never as powerful as you thought it was. It only had control over you because you let it. It only had power because you gave it permission. Every great achievement, every major breakthrough, every incredible success story started with someone who was afraid but did it anyway. Someone who refused to let fear be the reason they didn't try. Someone who decided that staying the same was more painful than taking a chance. Fear is a trap, but only if you let it be. The moment you decide to push through it, to move despite it, to take action in the face of it, is the moment you take control of your life again. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to hand you the life you dream about. Nobody is going to wake you up one day and say, here it is, everything you've ever wanted. That's your job. Your success, your happiness, your growth, your future, it's all on you. The moment you understand that, everything changes. Because as long as you keep waiting for someone else to do it for you, as long as you keep blaming other people, as long as you keep making excuses, you will stay exactly where you are. People waste so much time complaining about their circumstances, talking about how unfair life is, pointing fingers at everything and everyone except themselves. And sure, maybe life hasn't been fair. Maybe you didn't get the best start. Maybe you've had obstacles that others didn't. But the truth is, none of that changes the fact that your life is still your responsibility. No one is going to feel sorry for you and suddenly hand you a new life. No one is going to show up and magically fix everything for you. If you want something different, you have to do something different. Too many people sit around waiting for permission to be great, waiting for the perfect time, waiting for someone to encourage them, to validate them, to tell them it's okay to chase their dreams. But if you keep waiting for permission, you'll be waiting forever. The only permission you need is your own. The only person who can decide when it's time to change your life is you. You don't need someone else to believe in you. You need to believe in yourself. You don't need someone else to push you. You need to push yourself. Because at the end of the day, nobody is as invested in your future as you are. People may love you, they may support you, they may even want the best for you, but they're not going to do the work for you. That's on you. If you're not where you want to be, take a hard look at the choices you've made, because every decision you've ever made has led you to this moment. Every habit, every action, every excuse, every opportunity you did or didn't take. It all added up to the life you have right now. And if you don't like where you are, that means it's time to make different choices. It means it's time to stop blaming your circumstances and start taking control. It's easy to point fingers. It's easy to say, I didn't have the same chances as other people. It's easy to say, I didn't get the right support. It's easy to say I wasn't given the same opportunities. But successful people don't focus on what they didn't have. They focus on what they can do with what they have. They don't sit around feeling sorry for themselves. They don't waste time complaining about what's missing. They take what they have and they make it work. There are people out there who started with nothing, who had every reason to quit, who faced challenges bigger than you can imagine, but they made it anyway. Not because someone handed them success, not because they got lucky, but because they refused to give up. They refused to sit around and wait for things to change. They went out and made it happen. Nobody is going to come to your door and deliver success to you. You have to go out and get it. You have to show up every day and put in the work, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, even when you're tired, even when it seems like nothing is happening. That's the difference between people who succeed and people who don't. Successful people don't wait for life to change, they change their life. Your excuses are not special. Your fears are not unique. Everyone has doubts. Everyone has struggles. Everyone has reasons to quit. But winners push through. Winners take responsibility. Winners understand that success isn't given, it's earned. And the only person who can earn it for you is you. Not everyone is going to support you. Not everyone is going to believe in your dreams. Not everyone is going to clap for you when you decide to change. And that's okay. Too many people let the opinions of others keep them stuck. They let doubt, criticism, and negativity from people around them hold them back from going after what they really want. They shrink themselves to fit in. They play small to avoid making others uncomfortable. They silence their own dreams just to keep the peace. But at the end of the day, it's not their life, it's yours. When you start making moves, when you start working on yourself, when you start leveling up, people are going to have something to say. Some will doubt you, some will try to discourage you, some will question why you're even trying, not because they truly care about you, but because your growth makes them uncomfortable. When you change, you force others to look at themselves. And some people don't want to do that. Some people would rather see you stay the same because it makes them feel better about where they are. You have to understand that not everyone in your life is meant to go with you to the next level. Some people are only meant to be in your life for a season. And that's one of the hardest lessons to learn. When you grow, you will outgrow people. When you elevate, you will leave some people behind. It doesn't mean you don't care about them. It doesn't mean you think you're better than them. It just means you're choosing your future over their comfort. It means you're refusing to stay in the same place just to make other people feel secure. There will be people who laugh at your dreams. There will be people who tell you it's impossible. There will be people who remind you of every time you've failed in the past, trying to convince you that you'll fail again. But those people don't define you. Their opinions don't determine your future. Their doubts don't limit what you're capable of. The only thing that matters is what you believe. Some of the people closest to you will be the ones who doubt you the most. Family, friends, even people you've known your whole life may not support your vision. Not because they want to hurt you, but because they can't see what you see. They are looking at you through the lens of who you've always been, not who you are becoming. They remember your mistakes, your weaknesses, your past failures, and they assume that's all you'll ever be. But you are not your past, you are not your mistakes, you are not limited by what other people think you can do. You can't spend your life trying to prove people wrong. You can't waste your energy arguing with people who don't believe in you. You can't spend your time begging for support from people who were never meant to be part of your journey. Let your success be your response. Let your growth be your answer. Let your results speak for themselves. You have to be okay with walking alone sometimes. You have to be okay with being misunderstood. You have to be okay with people thinking you've changed, because you have. Growth requires change. Elevation requires separation. If you spend your life trying to stay connected to everyone, you will end up losing yourself in the process. The truth is, the people who are meant for you will support you. The right people will see your vision, even if they don't fully understand it. The right people will celebrate your growth, not try to hold you back. The right people will push you forward, not pull you down. And if someone in your life can't handle your growth, that's their issue, not yours. You can't afford to let small-minded people talk you out of big dreams. You can't let fear of judgment stop you from stepping into your purpose. You can't let the opinions of others hold more weight than your own belief in yourself. Because at the end of the day, the people who doubted you won't have to live with the regret of you not chasing your dreams. You will. Excuses will keep you exactly where you are. They will convince you that it's okay to settle, that it's okay to wait, that it's okay to put off the things you know you should be doing. Excuses sound good in the moment. They sound logical, they sound reasonable, they make you feel justified in your inaction. But when you look back on your life, you're not going to remember the excuses. You're going to remember the opportunities you missed, the chances you didn't take, the moments you let fear or doubt talk you out of moving forward. People are experts at making excuses. They say they don't have enough time, but they waste hours scrolling on their phone or watching TV. They say they don't have enough money, but they spend on things that don't add value to their future. They say they don't have enough experience, but they never take the first step to gain any. The truth is, excuses are just a way to avoid discomfort, because change is uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. Pushing yourself to do something new is uncomfortable, but so is regret, so is staying stuck, so is waking up years from now and realizing you let your own excuses hold you back. The most dangerous excuses are the ones that sound reasonable. I'm too old to start over. I'm too young to be taken seriously. I don't have the right connections. I don't know where to start. These excuses sound logical, but they're not the real problem. The real problem is the fear underneath them. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of looking foolish, the fear of putting in the effort and not seeing results right away. But every person who has ever achieved something great had those same fears. The difference is they didn't let them win. There will never be a perfect moment. There will never be a time when everything lines up exactly right, when you feel 100% ready, when there are no risks, no doubts, no unknowns. And that's why you have to start anyway. You have to take action despite the fear, despite the uncertainty, despite the discomfort. Because if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, you will be waiting forever. People say they'll start tomorrow, but when tomorrow comes, they find another excuse. They say they'll start next week, next month, next year, but the pattern continues, and before they know it, years have gone by and they're still stuck in the same place, still making the same excuses, still telling themselves the same lies about why they haven't moved forward. Excuses are nothing more than lies we tell ourselves to justify our lack of action. You have to hold yourself accountable. You have to call yourself out when you catch yourself making excuses. You have to be honest with yourself about whether you're really too busy, too broke, too inexperienced, or if you're just avoiding the discomfort of taking that first step. Because once you strip away the excuses, all that's left is a decision. A decision to either take action or stay the same. A decision to either push forward or give up before you even try. The people who succeed are not the ones who had perfect circumstances. They're the ones who refuse to accept their excuses. They're the ones who found a way even when the odds were against them. They're the ones who started with what they had, who worked with what was in front of them, who made progress even when it was slow. They didn't wait for things to be easy because they knew that waiting was just another way of avoiding responsibility. Excuses are comfortable, but comfort doesn't lead to success. Comfort keeps you stuck. Comfort keeps you repeating the same patterns, living the same life, settling for less than you're capable of. The moment you stop accepting your own excuses is the moment everything changes. The moment you decide to take responsibility for your own life, for your own choices, for your own future, it's the moment you take back control. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real quick. Success ain't magic, and it surely ain't luck. It's work every single day. You don't stumble upon greatness. You discipline yourself into it. I don't care who you are, where you come from. There are 10 things you must work on every single day if you want to live the life you keep praying about. Discipline shapes your destiny in more ways than most people realize. It's not just about routines or staying organized. It's the very foundation of transformation. Every dream, goal, and vision you hold in your heart is only as strong as the discipline you apply to pursue it. Discipline is the difference between wishing for something and working for it. When you understand that, your entire approach to life changes. It's easy to talk about success, but real success requires daily effort. It requires showing up when you don't feel like it, pushing through even when the results aren't immediate. Discipline says, I will stay committed to what I said I would do even when the mood has left me. That's where the power is. Every single person who's accomplished anything great has had to master the art of discipline. Talent may give you a head start, but it's discipline that carries you across the finish line. Think about it. How many people do you know who had potential but didn't follow through? How many people started something strong but couldn't stay consistent? That's what separates those who achieve from those who just admire from the sideline. Discipline is about controlling your habits, and your habits determine your direction. If you want to change your life, change what you do daily. It's not about big moves once a year. It's about small actions repeated every day, no matter how you feel. Discipline doesn't wait for motivation. In fact, it doesn't need it. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline is steady. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. At first, it feels uncomfortable. Waking up early, choosing healthy food, working on your goals after a long day, it's not always easy. But over time, those difficult choices become your new normal, and that's when transformation begins. You start to see results. You start to feel different. You build self-respect because you know you can trust yourself to follow through. That's one of the greatest rewards of discipline. It builds inner confidence. People often look for shortcuts, hacks, or secret formulas, but the truth is simple. You must do the work every single day. And that work begins with you being disciplined enough to do the hard things, especially when no one's watching. That's integrity. That's commitment. That's what creates excellence. You may not see the payoff immediately, but every act of discipline is a deposit in your future. It compounds, it builds momentum. And before you know it, you live in a life that once seemed out of reach. Discipline also brings clarity. When you live a disciplined life, you eliminate distractions. You become more focused. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter because you know where you're headed. That clarity is powerful. It gives you an edge because while others are chasing every shiny object, you're locked in. You're grounded. You're building something real, brick by brick, day by day. There will always be temptations to quit, to take the easy route, to compromise. That's when discipline becomes your shield. It protects your purpose. It reminds you why you started in the first place. And the more you practice discipline, the easier it becomes to say no to what doesn't serve you and yes to what does. It becomes part of your identity. You're no longer someone who dabbles. You're someone who commits. You're someone who finishes. You're someone who grows, improves, and keeps going no matter what. Mindset is everything because the way you think determines how you live. Your entire life experience is filtered through your mindset, and it shapes the decisions you make, the chances you take, and the way you respond to success and failure. You can't achieve greatness with a mindset that's small, negative, or fearful. Everything starts in your mind. If your thinking is limited, your results will be limited too. If you keep telling yourself you're not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough, then you'll start believing it, and your actions will reflect that belief. The mind can either be your prison or your power. The choice is yours. What you focus on grows, and what you believe in becomes your reality. That's why you must protect your mental environment the same way you protect your home. You wouldn't let a thief walk through your front door. So why allow negative, defeating thoughts to settle in your mind? Every single day, you have to renew your thinking. You've got to take control of what's playing in your head. If you're not speaking life to yourself, the world will speak fear and failure into you. You've got to decide that you are worthy of success, worthy of love, worthy of purpose. That decision begins with your thoughts. A strong mindset doesn't mean you never struggle. It means you learn how to respond to struggles with growth and resilience. Life is going to throw challenges at you, no doubt. But when your mindset is strong, you stop seeing problems as dead ends and start seeing them as opportunities to grow, to learn, and to level up. That's the shift that separates people who rise from people who stay stuck. Developing the right mindset requires consistency. You have to train your mind the same way an athlete trains their body. You read, you learn, you surround yourself with uplifting voices, and you stop feeding yourself doubt. Sometimes that even means distancing yourself from people who drain your energy or plant seeds of fear in your head. It means being intentional about the content you consume, the conversations you engage in, and the way you speak to yourself. Your internal dialogue is powerful. If you keep telling yourself you can't, your brain will find ways to make that true. But if you say you can, if you say you will, your actions will follow, and soon, so will the results. A powerful mindset is also about vision. You must be able to see beyond your current situation. You have to believe that where you are is not where you're going to stay. That belief pulls you forward when things get tough. That belief keeps your dreams alive when everyone else is counting you out. The mind that believes it's possible becomes the fuel for action. Because once you see yourself achieving something in your mind, you start to move toward it in real life. That's why visualization is so important. Athletes, performers, and leaders all use it. They see the win before it happens, and because they see it, they feel it, and because they feel it, they act on it with boldness. One of the greatest battles you ever fight is in your mind. It's the battle between fear and faith, between excuses and effort, between past pain and future promise. Every day, you wake up with the power to choose which voice to listen to. Will you listen to the one that tells you you're not ready, that it's too hard, that it's never going to happen? Or will you tune into the voice that says you're built for this, that you've overcome too much to quit now, that your story isn't over yet? A growth mindset doesn't avoid failure, it uses it. It doesn't run from hard times, it faces them and grows stronger. Your mindset is the soil and your life is the crop. If you want to grow something powerful, you have to plant the right thoughts and water them every single day with faith, belief, and action. Gratitude attracts growth in a way that few people truly understand. It's not just about saying thank you for the obvious blessings. It's a mindset, a daily practice, a lens through which you see the world. When you live with a grateful heart, you start noticing what's working instead of constantly focusing on what's missing. You shift your attention from lack to abundance. That shift is powerful because where your attention goes, your energy flows. If you spend your time dwelling on problems, setbacks, and disappointments, then you invite more negativity into your life. But when you focus on what you do have, what is going right, and what you've already overcome, you create space for even more blessings to flow your way. Gratitude turns everything you have into enough. It takes your mind off what other people are doing and reminds you that your journey is yours alone. It silences comparison and invites peace. The moment you start appreciating the little things, a smile, a breath, a roof over your head, you become more open to receiving the bigger things. That's because a grateful person is a magnet for opportunity. Gratitude shifts your energy, your tone, your presence. People want to be around someone who radiates thankfulness. It's infectious. It creates connection, trust, and joy in relationships, both personal and professional. Practicing gratitude every day keeps you grounded. When life gets chaotic or overwhelming, gratitude becomes an anchor. It reminds you that even in the midst of struggle, there's something to be thankful for. Maybe it's a lesson you learned, a new door that opened after another one closed, or the simple fact that you're still standing. Gratitude don't deny the existence of problems. It simply refuses to let those problems steal your joy. It tells the world, yes, I'm going through something, but I'm still thankful to be alive, to be growing, to be moving forward. The most successful people in the world didn't get there by complaining. They got there by appreciating the journey, even when it was hard. They found ways to celebrate progress, no matter how small. And that's the secret. Gratitude helps you celebrate while you build. You don't have to wait until everything is perfect to feel thankful. In fact, the more thankful you are right now, the faster you'll attract the breakthrough you've been working for. Gratitude turns your waiting season into a preparation season. It allows you to enjoy the process, not just the prize. Another powerful thing about gratitude is that it changes your perspective. When you practice it regularly, you start seeing challenges differently. What once looked like a setback now looks like a setup. What used to frustrate you now teaches you. What you once took for granted now becomes precious. That change in perspective affects your decisions, your attitude, and your overall quality of life. Gratitude expands your heart. It helps you forgive more easily, love more deeply, and live more freely. You don't need to have everything figured out to be grateful. You don't need millions in the bank or a perfect life to stop and say thank you. Gratitude is available to everyone right now. It starts with noticing. Take a moment to acknowledge the things that didn't have to go right, but did. The people who supported you when they didn't have to. The inner strength you didn't know you had until life tested you. These are the things that deserve recognition. These are the things that remind you how far you've come. Gratitude isn't just a feel-good emotion. It's a growth strategy. It keeps you humble when success comes and keeps you hopeful when setbacks hit. It trains your mind to focus on what matters most. When you live in gratitude, you stop chasing validation and start walking in confidence. You begin to attract more of what aligns with your purpose. Gratitude is a mindset, a choice, and a discipline that when practiced daily will unlock a level of peace, joy, and abundance that can't be shaken by circumstances. Your relationships matter more than you realize because the people you surround yourself with have the power to influence your thoughts, your emotions, your behavior, and ultimately your destiny. Every connection in your life either feeds your growth or drains your energy. You become like the people you spend the most time with, whether you know it or not. That's why it's so important to evaluate your circle. Who's in your life? What kind of conversations are you having? Are they lifting you up or pulling you down? Are they helping you become the person you're trying to be? Or are they keeping you stuck in who you used to be? These questions matter because relationships are not neutral. They either push you forward or hold you back. Many people underestimate the power of their environment. They keep toxic people around out of loyalty, guilt, or fear of being alone. But the truth is, your future is too important to be weighed down by relationships that no longer serve your growth. You have a responsibility to protect your energy, your peace, and your dreams. That means setting boundaries. That means choosing to be around people who challenge you, inspire you, and encourage you to keep going when you feel like quitting. You need people in your life who see the greatness in you, even when you can't see it yourself. You need people who tell you the truth with love, not those who flatter you to keep you comfortable in your dysfunction. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, trust, and growth. They're not about perfection, but about progress. You don't need to agree on everything, but you need alignment in values, vision, and direction. You need relationships where you can be vulnerable without judgment, where you can dream out loud without being laughed at, and where you can share your fears and still be reminded of your strength. Those are the kind of relationships that become a source of fuel for your purpose. They keep you grounded, focused, and motivated. Sometimes growth requires separation. As painful as it may be, there are seasons when you outgrow certain relationships. It doesn't mean you're better than anyone else. It simply means you're on a different path now. And if someone is no longer walking in the same direction as you, it's okay to let them go. Letting go doesn't mean hate. It means love from a distance. It means you've decided to prioritize your purpose over your comfort. Because the longer you stay in the wrong company, the harder it becomes to become who you were meant to be. But relationships aren't just about what others do for you. They're also about how you show up for others. Are you being the kind of person you want to attract? Are you supporting, encouraging, and uplifting the people around you? Are you being honest, dependable, and kind? The energy you give is often the energy you receive. You can't expect loyalty, growth, and inspiration from others if you're not willing to give it first. Relationships are two-way streets, and every connection requires intentional effort, communication, and consistency. When you start investing in the right relationships, your life begins to change. You become more confident, more secure, and more empowered. You're no longer carrying the weight of toxic dynamics. You're walking with people who help you rise. And when the storms of life hit, and they will, it's your relationships that will either hold you together or tear you apart. That's why you must choose wisely. Your inner circle should be a reflection of where you're going, not a reminder of where you've been. Surround yourself with visionaries, with encouragers, with builders. Surround yourself with people who won't let you settle, who remind you of who you are, and who speak life into your dreams even when they seem distant. Work on your gift every day, because your gift is the one thing that sets you apart from everyone else in the world. It's that natural ability that comes easy to you but amazes other people. It's the thing you were born with, the talent or skill that God planted deep inside you before you even knew who you were. That gift is your lane, your purpose, your path, but having a gift is not enough. You've got to recognize it, respect it, and most importantly, develop it. Too many people waste their gift because they either don't believe in it or they expect it to shine without any effort. A gift without development becomes potential wasted. You don't become great because you have a gift. You become great because you sharpen it daily, because you give it your time, your energy, and your discipline. Every person has something unique to offer the world, but the people who rise are the ones who take their gifts seriously. They don't sit back waiting for someone else to discover them. They show up every day and put in the work. They practice, they study, they improve. They fail, but they learn. They keep showing up even when no one's clapping, even when the results are slow, even when doubt tries to creep in. That's how you honor your gift. That's how you multiply. You can't expect a harvest if you don't sow into your own purpose. Your gift grows as you grow. It stretches when you stretch. It rises when you rise. But if you ignore it, it fades. That's the truth people don't want to hear. Working on your gift doesn't always mean working in the spotlight. Most of the growth happens behind the scenes, in the quiet moments, in the repetition, in the discipline of doing it over and over again until it becomes second nature. The grind that no one sees is what produces the results that everyone admires. It's in the early mornings, the late nights, the skipped parties, the sacrifices. The world often applauds the outcome, but rarely respects the process. But you got to fall in love with the process if you want to make the most of your gift. Your gift was never meant to sit on a shelf collecting dust. It was meant to be used to bless others, to inspire, to solve problems, to create impact. When you work on your gift, you create doors of opportunity that talent alone cannot open. Talent might get you noticed once, but consistency gets you remembered. It earns you trust. It earns you influence. It earns you a seat at the table. And when you get that seat, it's your gift that keeps you there. That's why working on your gift is a daily responsibility. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be committed. You don't have to know everything, but you do have to be willing to learn. Every single day is a chance to be better than you were yesterday. A small improvement compounded over time turns into mastery. And mastery opens doors that shortcuts never will. Your gift is also your answer to someone else's problem. That's why you can't take it lightly. Somebody out there is waiting on what you carry. Somebody needs your voice, your idea, your service, your solution, but they can't receive it if you don't deliver it. That's why you've got to show up, even when you're tired, even when you're discouraged, even when it seems like no one's paying attention. You're not working just for recognition. You're working because it's your calling. You're working because it's your assignment. You're working because you were created for a reason, and your gift is the evidence of that reason. Faith fuels action in a way that nothing else can. It's the invisible force that drives you to keep moving forward, even when the path isn't clear. Faith is not just about believing in a higher power. It's also about believing in yourself, in your purpose, and in the unseen possibilities that haven't shown up yet. It's easy to act when everything's working, when the money's flowing, when the support is loud and visible. But faith kicks in when things get quiet, when doors close, when the results aren't lining up with the effort you're putting in. That's when real faith is tested, not when things are going smooth, but when you've got every reason to give up and you still decide to keep pushing. Faith is what keeps you showing up when logic says there's no point. It's what helps you take that next step, even when you don't know how it's all going to work out. When you have faith, you're not relying on external proof. You're not waiting for the perfect plan or the perfect moment. You move based on conviction, not convenience. You trust that if you keep going, something will shift. You believe that what's ahead is greater than what's behind, and that belief gives you courage. That belief gives you endurance. Faith doesn't mean fear disappears. It just means fear doesn't get to be in charge. It's the voice inside that whispers, keep going, when everything around you is screaming, turn back. It's the fire in your soul that refuses to be extinguished by doubt, failure, or delay. Faith sees beyond the obstacle. It focuses on the outcome. It's not blind. It sees clearly, just from a different perspective. Faith pushes you into action because it demands movement. You can't claim to believe in something and then sit still. Belief without action is just a wish. But when you truly believe, your behavior changes. You start showing up differently. You speak differently. You plan, prepare, and persist because you expect something to happen. That expectation is powerful. It sets the tone for your life. If you expect failure, you won't even try. If you expect setbacks, you'll sabotage your own growth. But if you expect favor, if you expect progress, if you expect breakthrough, you'll start doing things that align with that expectation. You'll take risks. You'll stay consistent. You'll sacrifice comfort in the name of purpose. The thing about faith is that it doesn't eliminate challenges. It transforms your response to them. When you're walking in faith, you stop seeing problems as roadblocks and start seeing them as training grounds. Every trial becomes preparation. Every delay becomes redirection. You start trusting that everything is working for your good, even the stuff that doesn't make sense right now. That kind of faith is dangerous to doubt because it refuses to quit. It's resilient. It's unshakable. It keeps you grounded in purpose when everything around you is shifting. Faith reminds you that you're not alone, that your story is still being written, that what looks like the end might just be the beginning of something greater. You don't need to have all the answers to have faith. You just need to take the first step and trust that the path will unfold as you move. That's how journeys begin, with one step powered by belief. You don't wait for the perfect time because there is no perfect time. Faith creates its own moment. It says, I may not see the whole picture, but I trust that something bigger than me is guiding this. And because of that trust, you act. You build, you try, you stretch, you grow. Faith makes you bold. It makes you brave. It turns ordinary people into extraordinary leaders, creators, and difference makers. It transforms doubt into drive and fear into focus. Faith doesn't just fuel dreams, it activates them. It puts legs under your vision. It moves you from thinking to doing, from hoping to building, from surviving to thriving. Listen, I know you don't feel like it today. You woke up tired. You're uninspired. You're looking at that to-do list like, man, not today. But let me tell you something. If you only work when you feel like it, you will never make it to the top. Motivation is a great feeling, but it's unreliable. It comes and goes like the wind. One day you wake up feeling unstoppable, ready to conquer every challenge in front of you. The next day, you barely have the energy to get out of bed. That's the problem with motivation. It's based on how you feel in the moment. And if you rely on it to get things done, you'll never be consistent. The most successful people in the world don't wait to feel motivated. They don't rely on some sudden spark of inspiration to get moving. They understand that real progress comes from discipline. Discipline means doing what you said you were going to do long after the mood you set it in has left you. It's showing up, putting in the work, and staying committed, even when you don't feel like it. That's what separates winners from everybody else. Anyone can work hard when they're excited. Anyone can put in effort when things feel easy. But what happens when you wake up and don't feel like it? That's the moment that defines you. That's when you have to make a choice. Do you give in to the feeling or do you push forward anyway? Most people fall into the trap of waiting for motivation. They tell themselves, I'll start when I feel ready. I'll do it when I get inspired. But inspiration is not guaranteed. Readiness is an illusion. If you always wait to feel like doing something, you'll never build the consistency required to succeed. The best in the game, the people who make it to the top, have learned to move forward regardless of their emotions. They don't negotiate with their feelings. They don't entertain the excuses their mind tries to give them. They've trained themselves to take action no matter what. Think about an athlete training for a championship. Do you think they always feel like waking up at 5 a.m. to train? Do you think they always have the energy to push their body to its limits? Of course not. But they do it anyway, not because they feel like it, but because they know the work has to be done. The same goes for entrepreneurs, artists, and anyone trying to build something great. The ones who succeed are not the ones who only work when it's convenient. They are the ones who force themselves to be consistent, even on the days they don't want to. Discipline is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The first time you push through when you don't feel like it is hard. The second time, it's still hard. But over time, it becomes a habit. You stop questioning whether or not you should do the work. You just do it because that's who you are now. It becomes part of your identity. You become the kind of person who shows up no matter what. And that is the key to long-term success. Too many people expect motivation to carry them. They think if they don't feel inspired, they're not supposed to act. But the truth is, action creates motivation, not the other way around. The moment you start moving, the energy comes. The hardest part is getting started. Once you begin, momentum takes over. You stop thinking about whether you feel like it and just focus on the task at hand. That's how real progress happens. Successful people don't have some magical ability to feel motivated every day. They wake up just like everybody else, with doubts, with tiredness, with moments where they don't want to do the work. The difference is they do it anyway. They understand that success isn't about feelings, it's about action. The world doesn't reward thoughts, wishes, or intentions. It rewards results. And results only come from showing up, putting in the effort, and staying consistent, even when everything in you wants to take a break. The problem most people have is they let their emotions dictate their actions. If they feel inspired, they work hard. If they don't feel inspired, they slack off. This is why so many people struggle to achieve their goals. They think they need to feel like it before they take action, but the truth is, feelings are unreliable. There will be days when you wake up exhausted, unmotivated, and full of excuses. There will be times when you look at your goals and think, maybe tomorrow. But successful people don't think like that. They know that waiting for motivation is a trap. They have trained themselves to move even when every fiber of their being wants to stop. Think about the top athletes in the world. They don't skip workouts just because they're tired. They don't take the day off just because they don't feel like training. They push through. They grind. They keep going because they understand that their success depends on it. They don't give themselves a choice. They don't allow their feelings to control their actions. They know that discipline is what separates the great from the average. Every successful person has moments where they doubt themselves, moments where they don't see results fast enough. But the difference is they keep pushing forward. They don't stop just because the process feels hard. They don't let temporary discomfort define their long-term success. This is what makes them different. This is why they reach levels that most people never get to. Because while everybody else is waiting to feel motivated, they're already working. Your mind will always try to trick you into taking the easy route. It will tell you, you can do it later. You deserve a break. One day off won't hurt. But that's the exact thinking that keeps people stuck. Every time you give in to those thoughts, you strengthen the habit of procrastination. And once that habit takes control, it's hard to break free from it. The only way to beat it is to act, to get up, to move forward, even when your mind tells you otherwise. Think about every person who has ever built something great. You think they always felt like putting in the work? You think they never had doubts, struggles, or moments of exhaustion? Of course they did. But they understood something most people don't. They understood that feelings come and go, but actions are what create results. They knew that if they only worked when they felt good, they would never accomplish anything significant. This is why successful people stick to their routines. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on habits. They set a schedule and stick to it no matter what. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They make every moment count, and that's why they win. Because while everyone else is hesitating, waiting, and making excuses, they're out there making it happen. Your dreams don't care how you feel. They don't care if you're tired, if you're stressed, if you had a long day. Your goals don't wait for the perfect conditions, and they don't make exceptions for bad days. Success doesn't care about your excuses. It only responds to one thing: effort. The work you put in, the sacrifices you make, and the consistency you maintain, that's what moves you forward. Too many people let their emotions control their actions. They allow a bad mood, a tough situation, or a lack of motivation to dictate whether or not they take action. But that's not how success works. Successful people understand that if they want to achieve something great, they can't afford to let their emotions run the show. Feelings are temporary, but results are permanent. If you only work when you feel good, you will never get anywhere. If you only chase your goals when life is easy, you will never accomplish anything worthwhile. The truth is, success requires pushing through discomfort, frustration, and exhaustion. It requires doing the work even when every part of you wants to stop. Most people have dreams, but they treat them like options instead of priorities. They work on them when they feel inspired, but the moment things get tough, they slow down or quit altogether. That's why so many people stay stuck in the same place year after year. They are waiting for the right moment, the right feeling, the right energy to push them forward, but the right moment never comes. The people who succeed are the ones who understand that action comes before motivation, not the other way around. They take control of their time, their habits, and their mindset. They don't wait to feel ready. They make themselves ready by showing up day in and day out. No matter how they feel, there will be days when doubt creeps in. When you start questioning if all the effort is worth it. When you wonder if you're even capable of reaching your goals. But feelings like doubt and fear are just distractions. They only have power if you let them stop you. The people who make it to the top are not the ones who never have doubts. They are the ones who refuse to let doubt win. They move forward anyway. They put in the work anyway, because they know that no amount of negative emotions can stop them if they refuse to quit. Your dreams don't care if you had a rough day. They don't care if you're in the mood to work or not. They demand consistency. They demand effort. They demand that you push past the excuses and show up anyway. Think about all the people who never made it to where they wanted to be. It wasn't because they weren't talented. It wasn't because they didn't have potential. It was because they let their emotions dictate their actions. They let bad days turn into bad weeks into bad months, and before they knew it, they had completely abandoned their goals. If you want to reach your dreams, you have to stop waiting for the perfect moment. You have to stop giving yourself permission to slack off just because you don't feel like it. Your feelings don't control your future. Your actions do. The people who succeed in life are the ones who understand this on a deep level. They don't waste time waiting for motivation. They don't let temporary emotions dictate their long-term success. They take control. They put in the work no matter what, because they know that success doesn't respond to feelings. It only responds to action. Training yourself to push through discomfort is one of the most important skills you will ever develop. Most people avoid discomfort at all costs. The moment something feels hard, they stop. The second they feel tired, they slow down. As soon as they face resistance, they start looking for an easier way. But success does not come to those who seek comfort. It comes to those who are willing to do the hard things, even when they don't feel like it. It comes to those who refuse to back down just because something is difficult. Your mind is designed to keep you comfortable. It will always try to talk you out of doing the hard work. It will always try to convince you to take the easier path. This is why so many people struggle to stay consistent. The moment things get tough, they start telling themselves, maybe later, maybe tomorrow. But tomorrow turns into next week turns into next month. Before they know it, they have completely fallen off track. Not because they weren't capable, but because they allowed discomfort to stop them. Every time you push through discomfort, you get stronger. Every time you refuse to quit, you build discipline. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. At first, it feels unbearable. Your mind screams at you to stop. Your body tells you it can't take any more. But if you keep going, something incredible happens. You realize that you are capable of much more than you thought. You realize that discomfort is temporary, but the rewards of pushing through it last forever. The difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck is simple. Successful people have trained themselves to push through discomfort, while unsuccessful people let discomfort control them. The ones who make it to the top are not the ones who had the easiest path. They are the ones who refused to stop, even when the path was full of obstacles. They are the ones who kept moving forward, even when everything in them wanted to quit. The most dangerous thing you can do is let your emotions control your actions. If you only work when you feel good, you will never reach your full potential. If you only push yourself when things are easy, you will never grow. Growth happens when you step outside of your comfort zone. Progress happens when you push past the point where most people stop. Every time you force yourself to keep going, even when it's hard, you separate yourself from the crowd. You build the habits that lead to greatness. The reason so many people never reach their goals is that they assume success should feel good all the time. They think that if something is meant for them, it should be easy. But nothing worth having comes easy. The people who achieve their dreams are the ones who understand that discomfort is part of the process. They know that success requires sacrifice. They accept that there will be moments when they want to quit, but they push forward anyway. Your body can handle more than you think. Your mind is stronger than you believe. The only way to find out what you're truly capable of is to stop backing down when things get tough, to stop letting discomfort dictate your actions. The people who make it are not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who learned to keep going no matter how hard it got. They are the ones who made the decision that nothing, not tiredness, not frustration, not discomfort, would stop them from reaching their goals. Showing up consistently is what creates success. It's not about how fast you start, how much talent you have, or how motivated you feel. It's about whether or not you show up day after day, no matter what. Most people underestimate the power of consistency. They think success comes from big, dramatic efforts, but in reality, it comes from the small, disciplined actions repeated over time. It comes from doing the work. Even when no one is watching, even when you're tired, even when you don't see immediate results. The reason most people fail is not because they aren't capable. It's because they don't stick with it long enough to see results. They get excited at the beginning, put in effort for a few weeks, and then start slowing down. They expect overnight success, and when they don't get it, they lose motivation. But the truth is, success is built through consistency, not intensity. A little bit of effort every single day will always be bursts of effort followed by long periods of inaction. Think about someone who wants to get in shape. They can't just go to the gym once and expect to see results. They can't work out hard for a week and then take a month off. It's the person who shows up day after day, even when they don't feel like it, that sees real change. The same principle applies to every area of life. Whether it's business, personal growth, or mastering a skill, the key is showing up and doing the work consistently. The people who succeed are not always the most talented. They are the ones who refuse to quit. They are the ones who wake up and put in the effort, even when they don't see progress right away. They trust the process. They understand that results take time. They know that every step forward, no matter how small, is still progress. Too many people stop because they don't see immediate rewards. They think their work isn't paying off because they can't see the results yet. But the truth is, success is like planting a seed. You don't see growth right away, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. The roots are growing underground, building a foundation. And if you keep watering that seed, keep nurturing it, eventually it will break through the surface. Most people never make it to that breakthrough because they quit too soon. They stop watering their dreams. They stop putting in the work, and they wonder why they never achieve what they set out to do. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is persistence. The ones who make it refuse to stop no matter how slow the progress feels. They don't let frustration stop them. They don't let boredom stop them. They don't let obstacles stop them. They stay committed to the process, knowing that consistency will always lead to results. It's easy to work hard when you're excited. It's easy to stay motivated when things are going well. But true success is built on the days when you don't feel like it, the days when you're tired, when you're discouraged, when nothing seems to be working. Those are the days that matter the most, because every time you push through, you strengthen your discipline. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you prove to yourself that you're serious. If you only work hard when you feel like it, you will never achieve anything great. The people who reach their goals are the ones who show up no matter what. They build momentum through consistency. They understand that success is not about waiting for the perfect moment, but about making every moment count. It's not about how you feel, it's about what you do. Too many people let their emotions control their actions. If they wake up feeling motivated, they put in the work. If they wake up feeling tired, discouraged, or unmotivated, they take the day off. This is why so many people struggle to make progress. They allow temporary emotions to dictate their long-term success. But real winners, the people who achieve their goals, understand that emotions come and go, but discipline is what creates results. Your feelings will never be consistent, but your actions can be. One day you might wake up feeling inspired, ready to take on the world. The next day you might feel drained, unmotivated, and full of excuses. That's normal. But the mistake most people make is believing that their emotions should determine whether or not they take action. If you only work when you feel good, you'll never get anywhere. If you only push yourself when it's easy, you'll never build the habits that lead to real success. Think about all the people who dream big but never follow through. They get excited about an idea, start strong, but the moment things get hard, they slow down. They tell themselves, I'll do it tomorrow, but tomorrow turns into next week, next month, next year. Before they know it, they're in the exact same place they were before, wondering why nothing has changed. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple. Successful people take action, no matter how they feel. They don't wait for the perfect mood, the perfect day, or the perfect circumstances. They get up and do what needs to be done, regardless of how they feel in the moment. The mind will always try to trick you into choosing the easy route. they give in to them, you will always stay stuck. There are too many obstacles standing between you and the life you want to create. If you give in to them, you will always stay stuck. If you learn to ignore them and take action anyway, you will realize just how much power you actually have. Success is not built on feelings, it's built on habits. When you train yourself to take action no matter what, you create unstoppable momentum. You become the kind of person who gets things done, not just when it's easy, but even when it's hard. You become the kind of person who doesn't make excuses, who doesn't waste time waiting to feel ready. That's what separates high achievers from everyone else. They understand that their emotions are not in control. They are. Every great athlete, entrepreneur, and leader has days when they don't feel like showing up, but they show up anyway. Not because they feel like it, but because they have trained themselves to act regardless of their emotions. That's what discipline is. It's the ability to push through discomfort, to do the work even when you don't want to. It's the ability to recognize that how you feel in the moment does not determine what you are capable of. Too many people spend their lives waiting to feel ready. They wait for motivation to hit before they take action. But the truth is, action comes first and motivation follows. When you start moving, you build momentum. When you take that first step, you realize that you didn't need to feel like it. You just needed to start. The most successful people in the world know that success is not about feelings. It's about discipline, commitment, and the willingness to do the work no matter what.